Prior to assay, make sure that the Hybridization oven is on and set to 40 degrees Celsius. Afterwards, place a humidifying tissue inside the Hybridization tray and pre-wet the tissue with 50 milliliters of water. Pre-warm the Hybridization humidifying tray in the oven for at least 1 hour before use. Throughout the assay, keep the tray warm and in the oven as much as possible when not in use. In fume hood, place slides in Tissue Tech slide rack and submerge slides into the first clearing agent dish containing xylene. Incubate for 5 minutes at room temp with occasional agitation. Remove the Tissue Tech slide rack from the first xylene dish and immediately submerge them into a second xylene dish. Incubate for 5 minutes at room temp with occasional agitation. Remove the Tissue Tech slide rack out of xylene and immediately submerge into a staining dish containing 100% ethanol. Incubate for 3 minutes at room temp with occasional agitation. Remove the Tissue Tech slide rack from the first ethanol dish and immediately submerge them into a second ethanol dish. Incubate for 3 minutes at room temp with occasional agitation. Remove Tissue Tech slide rack out of 100% ethanol. Remove slides from the rack. Place slides on a dry paper towel with tissue section side up and air dry at room temp for about 5 minutes. Create a hydrophobic barrier around the tissue section using the Image hydrophobic barrier pen. Make sure there are no gaps in the barrier and that the mark is dry before the next step. Lay the slides on the bench and add 5 to 8 drops or enough volume to cover the entire section of Pre-Treat 1 to each section. Incubate for 10 minutes at room temp. Decant the Pre-Treat 1 solution into a waste container and immediately insert slide into the staining dish containing water. Wash slides by moving the slide rack up and down several times. Bring 700 milliliters of 1x Pre-Treat 2 solution to a gentle boil, then adjust power to maintain a temperature within the range of 100 to 104 degrees Celsius. Check the temperature of the Pre-Treat 2 solution to ensure temperature is between 100 to 104 degrees Celsius. With forceps, slowly submerge slides into the boiling pretreat 2 solution. Check the temperature from time to time to ensure temperature remains between 100 to 104 degrees Celsius. Boil slides for 15 minutes. Remember, do not let the slides sit in the pretreat 2 solution for more than 15 minutes. Rinse slides by moving the slide rack up and down several times in water. Decant the water by flicking the slides into a waste container or tapping the sides on an absorbent paper towel. Add about 5 drops or enough volume of pretreat 3 to cover the entire tissue section. Place the slides on a slide rack in the Hybridization humidity control tray. Close the tray's lid, seal, and insert into the Hybridization oven and incubate for 30 minutes at 40 degrees Celsius. After 30 minutes, remove the slide rack from the oven. Decant the pretreat 3 solution by flicking the slides into a waste container and immediately inserting them into a slide rack submerged in water. Wash slides by moving the slide rack up and down several times. Decant the water by flicking the slides into a waste container or tapping the sides on an absorbent paper towel. Add 3 to 4 drops of your target probe or control probe to each section. Place the slides on a slide rack in the Hybridization humidity control tray. Incubate slides in the Hybridization oven for 2 hours at 40 degrees Celsius. Remove the slide rack from the oven. Place the humidity control tray back in the oven to keep the tray warm. Decant the solution by flicking the slides into a waste container and immediately insert them into a slide rack submerged in 1x wash buffer. Incubate slides in 1x wash buffer for 2 minutes at room temperature with occasional agitation. Afterwards, decant wash buffer and replace with fresh 1x wash buffer. Incubate slides for an additional 2 minutes at room temperature with occasional agitation. During the amplification part of the assay, 6 amplifying solutions will be applied to the slides with 2 washes in between each step. The only difference between each amplification step is the incubation time and temperature shown here. Decant the wash buffer by flicking the slides into a waste container or tapping the sides on an absorbent paper towel. Do not let the tissue sections dry out completely. Add 3 to 4 drops of your AMP solution to each tissue section. Place the slides on a slide rack in the Hybridization humidity control tray. For AMP 1 to 4, close lid and insert into the Hybridization oven. Incubate for the amount of time shown here. For AMP 5 to 6, close lid but do not insert into the Hybridization oven. Incubate for the amount of time shown here. Prepare the 1:1 DAB mixture by mixing equal volumes of DAB-A and DAB-B. The mixture should contain enough volume for 120 microliters per tissue section. Mix well by inverting the tube several times. Add 120 microliters of DAB mixture to each tissue section. Place slides in the Hypebeast tray, but do not insert it into the Hypebeast oven. Incubate for 10 minutes at room temperature. Decant DAV mixture solution from each slide into a waste container containing 20% bleach and immediately insert slide into a staining dish containing water. Move the slide rack into the staining dish containing 50% Gills hematoxylin and water. Incubate for 2 minutes at room temperature. Transfer slide rack into a staining dish containing fresh water. Rinse slides, occasionally replacing the water until slides are clear while tissues remain purple. Decant water and replace with 0.01% ammonia in water or bluing reagent. Decant the bluing reagent and replace with water. Transfer the slide rack into the first staining dish containing 70% ethanol. Incubate for 2 minutes, then transfer the slide rack into the second staining dish containing 100% ethanol. Incubate for 2 minutes, then transfer the slide rack into the third staining dish containing 100% ethanol. Incubate for 2 minutes. Finally, transfer the slide rack into a cleaning agent dish containing xylene. Let it soak for 5 minutes with frequent agitation. Place 1 to 2 drops of cytosil mounting medium onto each tissue section. Carefully place 24 mm by 50 mm cover slip over tissue section. Avoid trapping air bubbles. Air dry slides for 5 minutes.